So a rather new brand called Uhuru sent me their gaming mouse to check out, so let's take a look. A fairly minimal box, nothing much to look at. It's a 6-button gaming mouse. It has 2 shoulder buttons on the side. It can support up to 3200 dpi, which I think is good enough for most people. It has some pretty cool lighting by the looks of it. Let's see how it works. The logo looks pretty interesting in my opinion, and there's the mouse itself, nothing else on the sides, and this must be really difficult to use because I got 2 of the identical user manuals. I mean, first impressions, the mouse is made of decent quality plastic. I mean, for the price, it's on par with what I expect. It's not blowing me away, but it's not disappointing me either. The cable is braided, which may or may not be up to your preference. Some people don't like braided cables. I don't mind them. Although I think this end of the USB connector will be the first thing to break. That's been my experience with most of the cables. The mouse is fairly large, but it fits in my slightly above average palm pretty well. So if your palm length is the same as that, then yeah, you'll comfortably use this mouse. Okay, once plugged in, that's how the RGB looks. It actually looks pretty decent in real life. It has a strange breathing effect, so it kind of changes colors gradually across it. But there doesn't seem to be any way to control the colors as such. But it does come with a software, so let's take a look at that as well. They did the smart thing of including a QR code where the software is available on their website. So Uhuru Mobility, let's just download the software. It's under the support section in case you're wondering. You know what, this software looks really similar to another mouse software that I've tried from Quantum. You remember that company? We tried the Quantum Snipe 1.0 gaming mouse. It looks remarkably similar. There's even that assault rifle picture on top. I think all of these mouse, they have a similar chip inside, so they use similar software to program them. And yes, you can like set different profiles. You can program these buttons just the way I've shown in my other video. Oh, and look at that. There is some LED settings there. Okay, so I was wrong. There is no direct LED switching method on the mouse itself, but you can change that using the software. Let's try it. Oh, so you can only enable and disable certain colors for the cyclic switching, but you can keep a fixed color, I guess. Doesn't really seem to be working though. Let me disable all the colors and see if that works. I mean, it's still switching between all the other colors, so I don't know if this software is working as intended. I mean, you can change the pointer precision and the wheel speed. Now that's one of the things I noticed that is slightly better than other mice that I've used in this budget especially. The scroll wheel is actually pretty good. It doesn't like wobble around too much or doesn't make a lot of rattling noises. That is pretty common for other mice in this budget. So I quite like it. After playing around a bit, I set the scroll wheel speed to 7 and I found that to be the most pleasing experience. So yeah, the scroll wheel on this is definitely better than others. They are claiming some pretty extraordinary things, like they are saying this sensor can track up to 28 inches of movement in 1 second thanks to that high DPI. Like even though the on hardware DPI maxes out at 3200, they say that it can be pushed up to 4800 using this software. I mean, I'm not a gamer. I don't have a really good way of measuring that, so if you have any tests in mind, let me know in the comments. I will do those tests and let you know. But as I'm doing this test on my PC here, it's working quite well. It's tracking pretty accurately. The scroll wheel, as I said, is really good, and it's not missing my clicks in any way. But then again, this is a brand new mouse that I unboxed fairly recently, so we'll have to see how it stands after several months or several weeks of usage. They're saying these foot pads are made of pretty high quality Teflon. I particularly don't like the feel of them. Especially on this rubberized tablecloth that I have, I mean this desk mat, it makes a lot of sounds, as you can probably hear. So I'm not a fan of that. It's not super smooth like many other mice that I've used, so it definitely makes its presence felt when you are moving the mouse around. I mean, you can get used to it and it tracks very smoothly. But yeah, that sound, that rubbing sound is something that I have to get used to. Oh, and speaking of usability, every time I disconnect this mouse from my PC and reconnect it back, the USB, it switches back to the default, like the original DPI setting. I have to click it back to the max. Like I like to use high DPI when I'm using my mouse. So every time I shut down my PC or every time I disconnect this, the next time when I reconnect, it's all the way slow. I have to press this DPI button once again to bring it back up. So it doesn't remember its previous setting despite having a software and everything. I mean, Uhuru, if you're watching, that is something that can definitely be improved alongside this lighting. I mean, we tried to change the lighting here and nothing happened. So yeah, your software definitely needs work. And the paint on this mouse is good. I mean, it's fairly uniform, but I don't know how long this would last, because these budget mice have a tendency of the paint wearing out over time, because after all, you are using this for several hours at a time, and my palm, just like many others I imagine, tend to get pretty sweaty. So this paint would erase over time, I think. I mean, I'm not saying it will happen, the paint, I'm not saying it will go away, but it's a possibility. I think this plastic is a translucent plastic with black paint on it. it instead of it actually being black, in which case nothing will happen. Oh, and another thing I noticed is if your USB port of your PC has power delivery, meaning that even when the PC is sleeping, if the USB port can deliver USB power, this light will continuously turn on or continuously stay on even when your PC is sleeping. So that's kind of annoying. Like I noticed even when the laptop goes to sleep, this thing remains on if the USB port is on. If I switch it off, like if I turn off the main power to the laptop, it goes into battery mode. So it turns off the USB power, then it goes to sleep. So yeah, that's one of the characteristics I've seen with many other budget mice and keyboards, that they light up their RGB even when connected to something like a power bank. So again, I mean, keeping the budget in mind, it's fairly typical. Weight wise, this mouse is fairly light. It's around 94 grams. So that's on par with most of the mice of this size. But if you compare it to a normal office mouse, a regular non-RGB mouse, that'll be a little bit lighter, around 74 grams or so. But yeah, all in all, I was looking for a new mouse anyways because I was getting bored of my older office mice. So I guess this is a cool replacement. So thanks Uhuru for the upgrade. I will continue to use this and let you know how it performs. But my verdict is it's nothing special, it's nothing extraordinary. And I guess that's not necessarily a bad thing as long as it continues to work. And Uhuru, I hope that you can fix the software so that the DPI thing and the color changing stuff actually works. And if that's out of the way, then yeah, this is a pretty good mouse for this budget. If you're interested, I'll leave a link in the description where you can check it out.